it's over, let it go. 52 times a year, the week is done and over with before you know.
Thank you very much indeed. Hello, good evening and welcome. I am David Frost and That Was the Week That Was. Finally, after 60 years, the third series has finally arrived. After the first two series were cruelly cancelled by the BBC and the then Tory government of Harold Macmillan. Which brings us to our first news story this week, concerns Suella Braverman, who broke silence over a speeding ticket as she battled to save her job. By coincidence, her immigration figures, which have reached 1 million, have also received a speeding ticket. Our second news story this week concerns a surgeon sacked for getting a cleaner to hold a patient's leg during a toe amputation. The cleaner removed the toe before leaving with a clean pair of heels. The Mail asked, how many council workers does it take to turn a light off? Cornwall Council is to train its staff on how to switch off bulbs after one of its buildings was lit up like a Christmas tree all night. Council Chairman Warden Hodges was heard to say, put that light out. Yes, indeed. How many Cornwall Council staff does it take to change a light bulb? We'll let you know when we finish training them. Whilst the Independent queried, why do we need to be talking about a hung parliament? Quite naturally, Conservative Lee Anderson said he wanted to be in charge of the hung parliament and would hang every last one of them. Our favourite celeb couple, Victoria and David Beckham, were in the Mirror this week. Victoria admits that David has never seen her without her eyebrows drawn on. Victoria also likes to draw a cock and balls on her forehead. This week, Cruella Braverman shot herself in the foot over a speeding ticket. She shot herself in her foot while it was on the gas pedal, which caused her to lurch forwards at an alarming rate. The royals are still in the news. Charles could cut off Andrew's utilities in a desperate move to force him out of his mansion. Indeed, Charles could cut off Andrew's ghoulies if he gets desperate enough. Whilst Kate Middleton let slip that William has an annoying messy habit when they're relaxing at home. Prince William eats pizza off the sofa. At least Prince Andrew had the decency to get a table at Pizza Express. Charles was pottering about in his garden this week. He was searching for a new garden plant after having a rabbit problem. I'm just going over to Chelsea, Camilla, and see if they've got any decent snares. No, not snails, Camilla, snares. Whilst over in America, Los Angeles was ridiculed for its life-changing female shea poles. But you can be guaranteed that the ladies will probably use them for dancing, won't they? Whilst America was also over here, the Evening Standard gave us the sour truth of Oxford Street's candy shop curse. Yes, it's Willy Wonka and the money-laundering candy shop. The Metro needs to go to Specsavers because it says that Lewis Capaldi looked absolutely nothing like a bizarre bronze statue erected at his old school, but he's chuffed anyway. I don't know, with a touch of bronzer on, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart, would you? The statue is twice as ugly as Lewis himself. Well, to be more accurate, 1.5 times. The Karate Kid, Dominic Raab, is to stand down at the next election after bullying claims ended his cabinet career. Well, all we can say is, bully for him. This week, in the Daily Star, a van reversed through a Specsavers shop window as Brits hailed the glorious irony. Well, we didn't see it coming at TW. I suppose we should have gone to Specsavers. In Cornwall Live, we heard about a Cornish photographer who disguised himself as a puffin to take stunning wildlife photos. So it's time for Duracell to give us a little song.
Puffin the magic photographer lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in the land called Cornwall.
The Times said this week that actor Jude Law has more than a whiff of Henry VIII in firebrand after asking for a perfume to be made that smelt like Henry VIII's rotting leg. Indeed, pus, blood, faecal matter and sweat. I've heard that's Jude Law on a good day. In London this week, a man went on a rampage, headbutting a rail station worker and biting chunks out of a police radio and left wires in his mouth. Apparently, he was the sort of man who liked radio sound bites. The Mail came over all pompous this week and said the noble lords and ladies are angry at their coronation snub. Said if you dismiss them as meaningless relics of the past, what does that say about the monarchy itself? Well, it says they are meaningless relics of the past. And having watched the coronation, that's just about right, isn't it? You can't keep those bally birds out of the news. Gulls choose what to eat by watching humans, a study suggested this week. Yes, gulls are a chip off the old block. Well, they like chips anyway. The BBC noted this week that there are 5 hospitals at risk of collapse, which are going to have to be rebuilt. So that's the number of hospitals built under the Tories has fallen, while the number of hospitals built that has fallen has risen. A mixed bag of news this week from the Daily Star. AI could disarm humanity, they say, and force world peace on us, said Elon Musk. Not world peace, please, anything but world peace. I bet Vladimir Putin is shitting himself. Students were up in arms this week over Costa Coffee's 30-minute time limit after complaints from older customers about young people lounging around in the coffee bar. 30 minutes. That's only time for 6 selfies and the goss about your gender reassignment. It could only happen in Devon. A life-size statue of Elvis was stolen this week from outside a house in Devon. You could almost hear the man himself singing, "Return to Roger. The address is known. The Metro reported that scientists have worked out why a woman in Scotland feels no pain. Or not as much pain as Nicola Sturgeon is feeling at the moment anyway. Apparently, the UK population is to overtake France for the first time in history due to record migration. Yes, Brexit means we're beating France at something, but this will be relatively meaningless unless we get a few footballers and rugby players coming over into the bargain. German man revealed in the Mail Online that he had 3 surgeries to add 7 inches to his height, and no, it wasn't his penis. Yes, we all know about turkey teeth, and now you can get some turkey legs into the bargain. In The Sun, we learned about another cruel blow for Kate Garraway, as she was hit with a $716,000 tax bill whilst caring for COVID-stricken hubby Derek Draper. £716,000 tax? Derek's a nice little earner, isn't he? Kate should get him a new anorak for that immediately. Whilst in the Metro, a man fleeing a motel ghost broke into a home and was arrested for burglary. I thought burglars gave up on that old motel ghost excuse with Norman Bates and Psycho. The Telegraph discussed this week the best Cadbury flake alternatives to crown your ice cream cone. TW say, what about a meat alternative? A sausage, perhaps? Washed-up weather presenter Ulrika Johnson claimed this week she was groped by Rolf Harris. That must have been like groping an old leather armchair. And if Rolf were around, I bet he would have defended himself. A quick squirt of leather spray, perhaps. Just how royal is Mike Tindall? In the Express, he said, I did think at one point, I really want to dance right now. And if I get up and sort of get into a shit drop, rip my trousers off, we knew that Kermit the Frog was coming at some point. And I was like, could I dance with Kermit the Frog? I think Mike Tindall is in the royal family to dumb it down a lot, don't you? Cornwall Live wrote, Cornwall Council is among the best in the UK for filling potholes. In the words of the old saying, if there is a pothole anywhere on earth, you're sure to find a Cornishman at the bottom of it. In the Sun, the headline read, Knockout. Boxer Ladumo Lamati collapses in the ring and needs oxygen in a terrifying scare after a bout versus Nick Ball. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Boxer collapses in ring. Whatever next? They're bloody meant to, aren't they? Then the other one left standing up wins. This week, a man was released after his car crashed into the gates at Downing Street. However, he was also charged with making indecent images of children, proving what we all thought, that Downing Street is a magnet for paedophiles. The Mail revealed that Rishi Sunak's grandfather trained Mau Mau militants who fought the British in Kenya. Yes, the PM's late relative, Ramdas Sunak, taught the rebels guerrilla techniques and was part of a Hindu supremacist group, despite being on the UK's colonial payroll. So now we have his treacherous grandson, Rishi Sunak, running the country and slowly bankrupting it, using guerrilla techniques. Again, in the Daily Mail, we read about a Tory MP who found himself naked in a brothel at 4 a.m, unable to find his clothes, who feared he was victim of a foreign honey trap, which leads us to suspect that Pooh Bear is a Tory MP. Though, to be serious, it has to be Michael Gove, surely. Apparently, Katie Price used her son's Harvey's blue badge to park in a disabled space for a meal out celebrating her 45th birthday. So that's something blue, just right for Katie's next marriage. There was fury this week as journalists are to be charged £137 each to attend the Conservative Party conference in Manchester. The fees were branded undemocratic. Apart from the fact that Conservatives should be paying us, £137 is rather expensive for a stand-up comedy gig, a burger and a G&T, isn't it? Well, this has been David Frost on That Was the Week That Was. So goodbye, good evening, and see you next week.
That was the week that was. It's over, let it go. 52 times a year. The week is done and over with before you know.